Intel has officially unveiled their higher-end ARC GPUs, and I'd say it's about time. The main question on everyone's mind is that, are these GPUs fast enough to be competitive against the likes of Nvidia and AMD? Well, let's talk about that in this video. Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video. Hey, what is going on guys? Danny here, welcome back to the channel and I hope you've all been doing well. For this video, I wanted to talk about Intel's official unveiling of their ARC A750 GPU and give my thoughts on it, as well as discuss the leaks surrounding their flagship ARC A770 GPU. Now, I did make a couple videos last month discussing the recent leaks we've had surrounding these GPUs, and one of the topics I touched upon was the performance of what everyone at the time thought was going to be their flagship GPU, the ARC A780 GPU. While Ryan Shrout, who's the head at Intel's graphics marketing, said the following: "Despite some rumors to the contrary, there is no Intel ARC A780, and there was never planned to be an A780. Let's just settle that debate." Which means that their top-end GPU for this generation will be the ARC 770 GPU, which we'll talk about later on in this video. A couple days ago on Intel's graphics channel, they officially unveiled the ARC A750 limited edition graphics card. This video was also a bit of a performance showcase to PC gamers as to what they can expect with this GPU. Do keep in mind though, since it's a limited edition, while it will still be available to buy, I'm not expecting this GPU to hit store shelves at every retailer. It will probably be available at a select few places, maybe just on Intel's own official shop, and quantities probably won't be that high either. In this video, Ryan did run the GPU through Cyberpunk's built-in benchmark with the high preset, and it attained an average FPS of around 60 FPS. Though I'm not really a fan of this game's built-in benchmark because of how much skybox is involved in it. I usually benchmark this game in a pretty busy area of Corporal Plaza, which I think is a much more representative scenario of actual gameplay versus the built-in benchmark. Afterwards, he goes on to show the GPU against the RTX 3060, which, if we were to go by the latest Steam hardware survey for 2022, is the most popular GPU from Nvidia's current generation lineup. So it's a good target from their end, and here we can see that out of the 5 games they tested, it's relatively faster, up to 17% faster when it comes to the average FPS. However, this is just a small selection of titles, and until the GPU can get into the hands of reviewers who can test the GPU out in a wider variety of games, we won't really know for sure if it's actually faster overall. It's pretty easy to pick 5 games where your hardware will still hold the advantage. Nvidia can probably do the exact same thing where they'd find 5 games where the 3060 will be faster. The other thing we can take note of is that they didn't actually really disclose any full details of the settings they're using to test the games, as well as if it was DX12 or any other API, as all we get in the system configuration and disclaimer side is 1440p high preset. That's it. Gamers Nexus posted a hands-on video which featured the ARC A750 GPU, and they did have a special guest in that video who was none other than Tom Peterson from Intel. And they went over quite a lot of information in that video. Definitely recommend checking it out if you're interested in learning more about A750 and Intel's GPU architecture. They didn't show any gaming benchmarks, but one of the things that Tom did mention was how their focus is on optimizing their GPUs for DX12 and Vulkan, which are modern APIs that games are using today and are going to be primarily used for games going forward until some new iteration comes along. He did say DX11 and older APIs will also get focus, but it's not a priority now. There are some advantages and disadvantages to this. For starters, many of the new games coming out, the vast majority of them are utilizing DX12 or Vulkan. So for new games, the GPUs should be performing optimally. However, there are some new games that are still coming out which use DX11, and there are still plenty of older games that people are still playing which use DX11 or even DX9. For example, a lot of competitive titles like CSGO and Rocket League. And if Intel's GPUs aren't going to perform well in there, then a lot of people are just going to stick to buying AMD or Nvidia. I do also recall seeing results of resizable bar with their GPU and it providing a pretty significant uplift, but if you don't meet the other requirements of resizable bar, then it just won't work. So like I said, we're going to have to wait until reviewers can test a whole library of games comprised of games from various years and using different APIs to see where this architecture prevails over the competition and where it falls under. But hey, if this GPU does perform consistently better against an RTX 3060 and is considerably cheaper, then they'll have a winner on their hands. However, they haven't spoken about pricing or a release date, so that is something we're still waiting on. Speaking of pricing, that is something that will make or break these GPUs, and what I wanted to talk about next pertains to that, and it's got me quite concerned. A leaked slide over at WCCF Tech was posted, and this slide is very similar to the leaked slide we saw last year, where it was comparing their proposed DG2 lineup against current gen AMD and Nvidia GPUs in various segments. We can see it's now been updated with more info and includes the different GPU models Intel is going to release. What we can see is that the A750 will sit in the low 300 segment, targeting the RTX 3060, which we just saw was indeed the comparison Intel made. Right above that, we can see their flagship A770, and it's going to sit in that high $300 segment, going up against cards like the RTX 3060 Ti and RX 6650 XT. This also coincides with another post I discussed not too long ago from 3D Center, who had lowered their performance estimates for Intel's GPUs. At first we thought their flagship would target the RTX 3070, which is also another fairly popular GPU in the mid to high range segment. But it's all but certain at this point that for Intel's first generation of GPUs, the fastest we'll see is about RTX 3060 Ti levels of performance, which, don't get me wrong, is still pretty decent for 1080p and 1440p gaming. It's the pricing though that's not looking too appealing. Had these cards launched by late 2021, that would have been a different story, but we're talking about late Q3 2022. And at this point, with GPU prices falling, I've seen some excellent deals on a lot of the current generation cards. You could probably even find RTX 3060 Ti's for lower than MSRP at this point. And then the other thing is that we'll also start seeing AMD and Nvidia roll out next-gen GPUs, which will be substantially faster. These ARC GPUs do get some breathing room for a while, since initially AMD and Nvidia will release next-gen GPUs, which will target the enthusiast and high-end segments, and then trickle down to the mid-range and mainstream. Therefore, I'm not expecting to see an RX 7700 XT or RTX 4060 Ti until Q1 2023. But when they do release those GPUs, these ARC GPUs are going to be pretty short-lived and become obsolete at that point. The other thing is that Intel has still yet to prove themselves to everyone in the market. It's not just about cool new hardware. You need the software and drivers to back it up. Why would I pay $300 or so for an A750 when I can pay roughly the same amount for a 3060, which I know will have much better support and comes with mature drivers? It's battle tested. I tend to see comments such as, give them a break, it's their first attempt, but those shortcomings are never going to be considered by the average consumer. That just doesn't make sense to me. You want to buy something that you know will give your money's worth. On one hand, I am happy that we do have more competition to look forward to, but on the other hand, if it's mostly going to be ignored except for the hardcore fans, then the market won't be impacted in the way we want it to. If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.